It's gonna be okay, Donald Duck.
Wow.
Well, welcome back to the Filtered Podcast with me, Evan Owens, and
The only Colby.
the only Colby.
Because there is only one of me. Anyone else who has the name Colby does not have rights to it.
Don't have rights to that. Oh, talking about. I was gonna say talking about rights, but so many people probably.
That's very
will.
dangerous. What we're
Yeah,
doing
that's
right
a
now.
very dangerous word right now. What I was gonna say was in the last video, I was trying to put music in the background.
Yeah.
But I had the hardest time trying to find something that matched our podcast.
So I'm guessing you gave up.
Yeah, I gave up really quickly
Yeah.
because you know how like some vlogs have that like beach little sound.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was the only stuff I could find. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna look for more later.
Yikes. Yeah, we're not California vibes.
No.
We're more like Midwest experience vibes.
Yeah, honestly. Well, welcome back to the podcast. So today we're gonna be talking a little bit about last Halloween, which was 3 days ago. I kind of felt like a dummy because I thought it was yesterday, but time has flied pretty fast. Yeah, I know, voice crack. But
Wow. You should be past that by now, Evan.
oh no, I'm still dealing
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah, we're dealing with a lot here. We've been recording and working on things. So far, third time is the charm on podcast audio.
Yeah.
I think the first episode, in theory, has been uploaded by a long time ago.
Yeah, but yeah.
But that is merely in theory. We've been doing a lot of trial and error, emphasis on the air.
A lot of trial and error.
But in theory, we are through the weeds,
Yes.
per se.
We are learning, and it's been going decently okay.
Yep, I've found out the hard way that you really cannot trust the internet when it comes to certain details about podcasting.
Yeah.
There turns out to be a platform for Spotify. That was not the case from most YouTube videos that I watched.
Really?
Yes.
That's interesting.
And then for whatever reason, I've realized I've never Googled podcast for Spotify. And the first thing that came up was podcasts for Spotify. And that was the easiest thing I've ever done in my life. And I could have saved myself about 2 hours.
Probably. I remember right before you left for your meeting, you told me to look for how to record off of Spotify.
Yeah. I was like, you're probably not going to have time for it to find something that works. But,
And then you took like, what, 20 minutes?
It wasn't even 20 minutes. It was like I sat down. I'm like, all right, I'm going to look for a good platform. And then instantly it was the first thing that came up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Honestly, we've struggled more with passwords than anything else.
Oh my gosh, so many passwords. I'm so done with the passwords.
Yeah.
So on not Thanksgiving. Oh.
Not quite there yet.
Yeah, not there yet. On Halloween, I sent you some scary movies. Did you take any of them?
I did watch one of them. Me and my roommate, we really enjoy spooky movies right at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I am hardcore nothing demonic.
Yeah.
Because that stuff could very much be real.
Yeah.
But I do like a good little scary movie. Can kind of get you questioning things in life. But yeah, I did check out some of them. The one that we watched was Follow Request.
Yeah.
And that one was borderline for me.
Yeah.
I didn't look that one through that much. I just saw it was like PG-13 or whatever. I'm like, oh, cool.
Wait, can you remind? Isn't that the one where it was like the emo girl?
Yeah, the emo girl.
Okay. Yeah,
sent her Follow Request.
I'm glad that you watched that because that movie freaks me out.
Yeah, the first half was kind of freaky. The second half wasn't.
The last half was like kind of shocking to me though.
The second half was like, oh, that.
She becomes the girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert for a movie that's like 10 years old.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought it was weird. I was like, okay, this is a good plot, and then they kind of introduced the witch stuff, and I was like, I don't like this anymore.
I'm sorry. There it's hard to find like any like good scary
Mm.
movies without any like demonic, unless
Yeah,
you're watching like The Quiet Place, which isn't really that
I would say
scary.
it's more of a thriller.
It's a thriller.
Yeah, I think I'm more on the thriller side of scary movies.
Yeah.
But no, one time I always had the stance of I do not want to watch a single demonic movie because
Yeah.
Satan has power, man,
Mhm.
and I don't want to mess with anything of
Yeah,
that. I mean,
you don't want to test the waters.
I don't want to test the waters at all. So
Yeah.
it's a really hard line to walk sometimes with scary movies.
Yeah.
And kind of a funny story about where I kind of cemented that rule for me
Mhm.
was at Grace.
Yeah. What happened?
So it was my freshman year at Grace. It was during the height of COVID.
Yeah.
The hall below, so we weren't allowed to go between halls.
Were you still in Omega?
I was in Omega all 3 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the GGL and the RA got quarantined.
Yeah.
For those of who don't know, that's the hall leadership.
Mm-hmm.
So the hall below us was a freshman hall with no leadership. Everyone pretty much in that building is a freshman, besides leadership. And I peeked my head over the balcony down the hall below me. A bunch of guys looked up and go, "Hey, you want to watch a scary movie?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure. I like a good scary movie. As long as it's not demonic."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, we're gonna watch The Conjuring."
Well, yeah, that's the mine.
And I was like, "Isn't that rated R?" And they're like, "Well, our RA isn't here, so we're just there's no one stopping us, so we're just gonna do it, and we can't really ask permission because it's almost midnight, but we want to watch a scary movie every night, and this is the one we decided on." I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, isn't that demonic? I don't want to
Yeah.
watch anything demonic." And one of my friends, he looked me straight in the eyes and said, "I've seen this movie 1,000 times. It is not demonic." And I'm like, "Really? All I've ever heard is that it's demonic. This doesn't make any sense." He goes, "Oh, it's not. If you just want to leave, no shame in leaving, but we're gonna watch it." So I'll go down there and watch it. The first like 2/3 of that movie is like, this is kind of stupid. This is kind of lame.
Yeah.
And then I'm sitting here, I'm like, this really doesn't feel demonic. And then the last third, it takes that plot twist
Mm-hmm.
of an exorcism and all this stuff. And
Yeah.
I'm sitting there, I'm like, I'm like not enjoying it, having a good time. All the lights are off, just like, and my friend looks over me, looks me in the eyes, and goes, "I'm so sorry, I forgot about this part." I look at him, I'm like, "How on earth do you forget this part?" I'm honestly convinced he might have been not truthing me,
Yeah.
but ever since that day, I'm like, no
Wow.
demonic.
Yeah. This was before I even took in the consideration of like, oh yeah, this is like actually took it in like, oh yeah, this is bad. Me and my cousin each night when she was in town, because all my family lives in Illinois, I would watch a scary movie with her every night when she was here. So it was like maybe 12 o'clock when they would show up, and we would watch the movie that night. The first scary movie that I've ever watched was called Cams. Creepiest movie ever. It was disgusting. It wasn't demonic. It was some guy putting cameras in the person's Airbnb and watching them do everything.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because that stuff actually happens.
Yeah. And so like I watched that, and then we watched The Conjuring, we watched all of them, and I was like, I kept trying to figure out why do I keep watching this, because like I was overcome with like, oh, I'm just hanging out with my cousin.
Yeah.
No, I never took in consideration that this is like a big deal. Stop watching it.
Yeah.
So like, Probably 2017 to actually 2021. I stopped watching horror movies because, well, obviously, dem- demonic attacks are real.
Mm.
I don't want to be in any situation where I'm around Satan, so
Yeah.
I don't watch that stuff anymore. The only I know I shouldn't have a consideration, but I have one movie that I will play. Well, I will watch because it's a Netflix game, and it's called it starts with a B. But I can play on that movie as that character and select which way he can go in the story. And it's just kind of like a this guy was messed up in the brain.
Mm.
Um but I mean it's not really demonic as I don't call it. I don't think it's demonic, honestly. I think it's you know how like people think things like what's the word for people thinking that someone's real but they're really not?
Schizophrenic.
Yeah, schizophrenic. That's basically the whole movie.
Mm.
Um but yeah, that's the only like movie I can like slide, but
Yeah.
any other movie I can't
Yeah.
anymore.
Oh no, it is really interesting seeing the amount of prevalence that it does have, because like there's even like my friends I would consider good solid Christians that are like, oh yeah, I love these movies. I'm like, but aren't you realizing that that's kind of glorifying the devil?
Yeah.
Like I mean, just like things like The Conjuring, be like, oh yeah, this is awesome. I'm like, it's really not. I think we should really step back and think about it.
Yeah.
Like I like a good scary movie. I like being scared, but like we're glorifying the devil and we're kind of giving him a little bit too much power and say, and like being like, hey, this seems okay. This is a scary movie. I'm like, well, things like even The Conjuring are based off of true stories.
Yeah.
And like, why are we almost celebrating a true story? It just feels weird.
Yeah.
I think it's something that we as Christians should be careful about and kind of monitor what we watch a little bit more, because even just some things in society are even like, is that glorifying to the devil?
Mm-hmm.
Like I've had conversations with friends about some superhero movies sometimes, like Doctor Strange 2, Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
My friend didn't like it at all, and his main reason was it felt too demonic to him.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I mean, that's fair if that's what you feel.
I mean,
go for it.
yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I kind of felt that way with that movie, but I mean, it had enough where I could be like, no, it's all right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, there's some stuff like the part where the Scarlet Witch snaps Professor
Professor
X head. I mean, that was pretty scary.
Yeah.
So like, and I mean, she's a witch, so that would make sense.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing that people can debate, because like, where's she glorifying? Where's her power coming from?
Yeah.
Traditionally, she's in the comics just has a superpower, and that's kind of what the MCU does. Is she kind of just has a superpower?
Yeah. I mean, that's
So,
most superhero movies.
Yeah, and like that's kind of the conversation that we had. I'm like, I don't know if necessarily if the devil's getting glorification from that, but I get what you're saying, and that feels like something that we should kind of press pause and slow down on.
Yeah.
Just personally.
But that's something to actually think about. I mean, there is really like a tug on the brain, on the mind, with what are we watching, and are you making exceptions for something? Because you might like something so much that you're not even realizing that, oh crap, this is actually really bad. This is something that I shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
But you're going to do it either way because you're having that exception.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we do a lot. I mean, right now I'm on a fast food fast, and it could be so easy to be like, I'm gonna go to McDonald's, but this is an exception because this is my free day. This is my
Yeah.
cheat day.
Yeah.
When my fast is for a whole year. Now that's like a little bit. What's the word? Kind of justifying. Yeah, but like horror movies, you actually have to think about it and actually think about, is this glorifying your mind for the Lord, or are you glorifying Satan and the devil's actions upon you?
Yeah.
Because like I remember watching all those horror movies and feeling like crap the next day.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I think it's interesting in life. I've kind of noticed that no one is a better liar than you to yourself.
Yeah.
It's amazing the things that we'll fight for and we'll champion for when other people are like, yeah, I feel kind of convicted about that. I don't know if that's necessarily that way.
Yeah.
But like, oh no, this is my thing. Like, it can't be wrong because it's my thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a dangerous mindset to have, and I think that's what we have sometimes with entertainment and pop culture. I mean, I know I have been guilty of that, and I may still be at certain times. And honestly, that's a little scary mindset to have.
Yeah. Hosier, you know Hosier?
Yeah.
His music is actually kind of great. Like,
Yeah.
I grew up with my mom watching Glee and stuff. So like we'll hear like Take Me to Church.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a great song, but the lyrics are really bad.
Yeah.
Take Me to Church, I'll worship like a dog.
Yeah.
Like you're not talking about you're not talking about the church. You're not even talking about God. You're talking about something else that is premarital.
Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff. Like we listen to music and not actually taking stuff in.
Yeah.
And that's honestly one way that the devil can get to you is you're not paying attention to what you're feeding your mind. Is this healthy? Is this not healthy? And that's something that even I struggle with today. It's like, yeah, I want to pop in some Hosier and I want to listen to his album.
Yeah.
But what's the point where I'm taking his words and I'm learning inappropriate things from this?
Yeah. Or are you just even affecting your mindset?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is interesting. Just what we'll do and what we'll accept and just kind of take. Earlier this year, I went on a 2-week media fast from pretty much everything. Yeah. And that was so nice and so enjoyable. I'd highly recommend people do it more often. What I like to do in every day, kind of since that happened, I like to open up my day with the first thing being in the Word. Sometimes it's hard because you got to wake up early. And sometimes I'm like, I don't got it in me to wake up early, but I have to find that some way. Because, in Romans 8, maybe not Romans 8, but it's in Romans.
Yeah, it's in Romans.
Paul says, why do I do what I do not want to do, but what I want to do, I do not do. Yeah. There's so many do's in there. But I talk about this verse all the time because it's honestly something that I realize all the time. Of where I'm like, man, I want to run after God, but everything else in this world doesn't want me to, and it's hard.
Psalms says, "Blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the wicked, nor stands in the way of sinners, nor sits at the seat of scoffers," which is just basically telling you, stay away from the wicked, but also says, blessed is the man who is in his word too. Obviously I use that out of context, but the Lord wants you in his word and not standing in the way of the wicked. So that's something that That's a great strategy of making time for the Lord and sitting in His Word, so you're not
Yeah.
tempted into something that you shouldn't be.
Mhm.